Okay. So words I would use to understand this is there is a spirit of the law and there is a letter of the law. And for the current time and period, it's not changing the writings, but it is elucidating, shining a light upon the spirit of the writing as opposed to the letter of the writing. For instance, one of the reasons this dialogue came about is a wonderful gathering we had where it got a little bit tense.
Yes.
And I look at that as a beautiful thing, not as a negative thing.
You and I didn't, but others did.
Some did.
Looked at it differently.
Well, exactly.
Some behind and some...
If we just pretend that there are not philosophical differences or different lenses we're looking through, we just pretend they're not there, we never really get to the true sense of oneness. That we have to, I often like to say that the road to the oneness is going to go through the portal of uncomfortableness.
Yes.
And if we don't get uncomfortable, we're just whitewashing and sugarcoating our philosophies. That we have to be getting uncomfortable. And one of the things that came up was the idea of the gay lifestyle.
Yes.
And Unity is very accepting of, we attract a lot of gay people because they're being accepted for the first time. And my understanding of the original writings and laws of the Baha'i tradition, that you can be a Baha'i, but you cannot practice a gay lifestyle. That is not accepted. You'll be loved, which I so appreciate. You behold the magnificence of that human being, but they cannot practice. But there are writings that have come from the council in order to elucidate the letter of the law as opposed to the spirit. The spirit of the law, through an ignorant lens, through a Unity person's lens, would say they don't accept gay people.
Right.
And my experience in that dialogue, I tried to soften the blow a little bit, is that you accept all people, and you have demonstrated that. Every Baha'i I have met accepts all people, and is loving and peaceful and joyous, and there's a sense of oneness. So I wasn't quite sure how to deal with it that night.
Yes.
Because it was obviously very uncomfortable for a number of Unity people and for a number of Baha'i people.
Yes. And there was a panel of Baha'is, and I wasn't
right
in that panel. I didn't want to interrupt them. So
how does the council then?
Yes.
Because we can't change the writings.
Right.
That would be
we can't do
a disservice. You cannot
Yeah.
do it. It would be a disservice to the beauty and the poetry and the truth contained there within. How does the council then interpret those words when a Unity person comes and says, well, Baha'is don't accept gays, so we are not really one, we're not teaching the same thing.
Right. Okay, so now we are coming to the point of these discussing these perceived differences, which I guess you and I think and know that no, there's no difference. There's one God. There's one religion.
Well, in Unity, there's one God. and it's...
And God within. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one God and there's God within. And there's really one religion, all this truth.
And much more than we can even conceive.
And much more. And then we are limited, still we are limited human beings with our understanding. So, and particularly on that issue, I think some of our friends have not totally studied that question. Yes, we go to the original Baha'u'llah's writings, and he says that homosexual relations basically is not accepted. Now, universal justice cannot change that ruling.
Right.
Now, that is different from different sects in Islam or different sects in Christianity, because they make up their own stuff, and then they would say that this is our understanding of Christianity, the way I understand it. But because Baha'u'llah has limited them in effect, this is how I would have responded to that question that night, and we can discuss it some more. For one thing, all religions of the world that I know do not accept homosexual relations. All religions, which are Old Testament, New Testament, Quran, Baha'i writings, do not accept homosexual relations.
Yeah, and Unity would say that Jesus never talks about it. Jesus, our master teacher, never even mentions it. He doesn't. Paul does. So, it's an interpretation. Paul is a secondary mirror to Jesus' teaching through his lens. And
this is how you
read.
Okay. Then, universal justice starts with this beautiful beginning that we are essentially a spirit. We are all part of God. In the world of the spirit, there's no male or female or gay or lesbian and this and that. We are all from
It's
the same
very
mother.
much in alignment with unity.
So that's the first thing. Second, he says that all religions, including Baha'i faith, do not accept sexual relationship between unmarried people. Then the third one said that marriage is for the sake of procreation, and because it is for the sake of procreation, it is between a man and woman.
Mm-hmm.
Then they explained that all human beings, gay, lesbian, whoever they are welcome to the Baha'i faith. But if they accept the Baha'i faith, they cannot be a Baha'i and also have sexual relationship, whether they are gay or lesbian or man or woman,
Mm-hmm.
except if they're married. So this is how it is explained, but then in that sense, I'd like to say that this is in line with all religions. I don't think...
Well, not necessarily unity or religious science. You know, the more contemporary religions that have emerged have
yes.
transcended teachings. And one of the things I love so much, appreciate about the Baha'i faith, so appreciate it, is the understanding of science, the partnership with science.
Yeah.
And science evolves.
Yes.
And as I look at religion, it doesn't necessarily evolve
Right.
at the same pace as science. Religion does not. There once believed that it was of the devil. There were writings that believed that
Yes.
homosexuality was of the devil.
Yeah.
And then it became more of a moral teaching, and it's for procreation, and I get that. Science is saying people are born the way they were born. And again, this is not a critique, it's trying to understand and build a bridge, because what I see only in the Baha'i people and the Baha'i community is love. Love for the individual. Regardless of the behavior, there is still love and an awareness. The idea of a progressive, and maybe in 1,000 years there'll be a progressive revelation.
I have thought of it exactly.
That there is a change in the human consciousness that says, a new revelation says that homosexual people can be Baha'is,
Yeah.
they
can be Baha'is.
can be Christians, can be Muslims.
Right.
I don't know, maybe we need to again transcend all of the ancient teachings to build upon the good of those teachings, but eventually go to the place where science says there's nothing, it's not an abomination to be a homosexual. It is absolutely just one other aspect of our humanity. I don't know the answer. I do know that unity, you know, our people will have a difficult time, and unfortunately take that very small teaching, that very small portion of the teaching, and want to go after it. And that happened to a degree in our gathering. And I say, look at the overarching. There are so many bridges, and if there are stopping points, let's not belabor the stopping points, but let's explore the bridges.
I don't want anything to be the start point. Actually, I want them to keep discussing it until we come to the point of comfort and understanding. And that brings us to the question of harmony of science and religion, which is one of the tenets, 12 principles of the Baha'i faith. But the question that I raise in that point is that probably you and I know that there have been many sex changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
That many homosexuals have been able to transcend the situation,
Yes.
become a man or become a woman. So my understanding, and it's my understanding of the Baha'i Council who makes these decisions, is that this is still an evolving part of science. It is not a definite point. And perhaps when that definite point comes, it is the point of the next revelation, as you said. He said that, these people are born homosexual, that's the way they are, they can't change, and they should be given the right to marry as well. So, which is, all of it is accepted. Baha'is welcome homosexuals, they accept homosexuals, but then they say that they don't go to anybody's bedroom, including man and woman, and say that you're not married, why did you have sex? They never do that. That has come up too in terms of question and all that.
Mm.
We're not going to pry on your lifestyle and all that. This is what Baha'u'llah said. This is what we are all trying to do, whether I'm a man or a woman or homosexual. And by the way, I just heard, I saw it on Facebook, that Baha'i homosexuals are having a conference in one of the cities, Ohio, I think, someplace, that they're having a conference to discuss these issues.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in that dialogue.
Yeah.
And again, is there, just asking the question, is there a possible fracturing of the Baha'i tradition? Because there are those within Baha'i that don't feel that that is right. Yet there's a whole group of people meeting to discuss. And I'm a heterosexual man, so it's not personal to me, but there's a group of heterosexuals, homosexuals meeting to discuss Baha'i tradition and Baha'i teachings.
And then how to deal
But it's
with this
not,
question.
we don't have 1,000 years yet.